Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 284 for July 18th, 2018. My name is Russell Frost. I am your host for this week's adventure into advanced technology, transportation, and sustainable energy. And I said that all without taking a breath. Almost.
Nice.
Thank you. I'm praying to the goddess that what happened during the Tesla show does not happen here. And you won't all be staring at my face. So, but already I'm worried. Let's try. Let's introduce somebody. My wingman on this show, our man in Chicago, Mr. Tony Schaefer.
I don't think there's any reason to be worried because Hockey Day says it's working now.
Yay! Yay!
Yes. So that's a good thing. So hi everybody. Yes, Tony. I have what I've had before: 3 sheeps, cashmere hammer. So I'll be 3 sheeps to the wind by the end of the show. So
Sweet.
It's a nitro stout.
Sweet.
It's pretty good.
Nice. Very nice. Well, the man next to him probably drinking something called Diet Pepsi. Our man in Canada, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Tony, I have to ask, do you go to the liquor store to find the weirdest bottle names you can find?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay. I was just wondering. Just wondering.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. We've got a bunch of interesting news for you today. So let's get to her.
Yay! Let's do a show. What the hell? So first couple of things, just some sort of business here. This week, and if I was blessed like Mark Coughlin with a lower third because of ongoing. Let's look at that. Oh, that lower third is so impressive. I would say this week I'm driving, wait for it, one of the most anticipated vehicles on What Drives Us. We have talked about this vehicle literally for years. We have been waiting for its arrival, and then I got on the list to get it, and then I've been waiting for its arrival, and I almost had it, and then they had to take it away.
89H3.
It's in my driveway. It is in my parking space right now. The Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV.
I'm so pissed. I want that.
I think you should get it.
Mm-hmm.
No, really, Tony, I think you should get it. It's a very interesting car already. I've only driven it once, about 15 miles, and I can't wait to drive it more. It's
you have it plugged in, Russell? That's the question.
It is not plugged in tonight. It will be plugged in tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
We're hybriding it, and we're seeing how the charge mode works.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are good things. I often forget things like that. Sometimes when doing a plug-in car, just out of habit and sense of obligation, I plug it in all the time, and I oftentimes forget to test the hybrid ability of it, or all the different modes. So
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Very nice car. And then do you hear that? Next week, what do we replace the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV with? The new Nissan Leaf.
Yay.
Russell is on a list of getting the right cars, isn't he?
I am, again, this is a car I'm absolutely thrilled to have. So thank you, Nissan. I'm looking forward to driving it. I enjoyed the first generation, but I never really had a chance to spend time with it. So the idea of being able to spend some time with this new generation Leaf, totally awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're talking about cars and cars that are new to you. Tony made a really cool video. Do you want to talk about it, Tony, or do you want me to talk about it? You want me to talk about it while you grab it? Zach?
That one. I thought you were at my pay-per-view channel. I wasn't sure we were bringing that
I don't
up.
want to hear that. No, stop. Just stop. It's just I don't know where you're going.
Yeah. it was not good. So let me go ahead and screen share here.
There we go.
And so friend
Star
of the
Wars.
show, Zachary. Yeah, last week this is Zachary here. And he has waited 2 years to get his Model 3, and he got it on Saturday. So it was really funny because when he showed up and I was getting a cup of coffee, and I said, "Hey, you want some coffee?" He's like, "Yes." This is the first thing he did was walk straight to the coffee machine. And he said, "This is my second cup of coffee. I didn't sleep much last night." And I think Mark can probably relate to that.
I know all about that.
Yeah. So the video itself is, I forget, like 10 minutes something. And
10 minutes, I think, yes.
Yeah, 10 minutes. And the thing is, and this is what I've said several times now, I could have made it a couple of minutes. It could have just been, here's the new car. Here's Zach getting in his car. Here he is driving away. But I basically just put the phone in front of him, the camera, if you will. And this is me and Zachary and his neighbor Tracy just chatting. And the messaging and what they were saying and the being proponents of electric vehicles and reducing fuel consumption. And Tracy here has worked with, he's one of the volunteers with the Drive Electric events every year. He organizes his community. So it was just the fact that they were saying so many good things that I didn't want to leave those clips, quote unquote, on the cutting room floor. And I really wanted to help get that message out. So I left it in there, and it ended up being 10 minutes, and I don't, I don't regret any of it.
There you go.
And there's even, if you go into the room here, a brand new shiny black Aero wheels Model 3. I mean, what is so crazy is that it's so shiny, and the shadows and the reflection that it literally, like, look at the front and you can see it plays with your perception, the shininess and the curves. And one thing that I was surprised, well, he got a toy Model 3 to go with it at 1/43 scale. Unfortunately, it's the wrong color.
Yeah, really? Come on.
Yeah. But here, I want to show this. This is the Tesla to J1772 adapter.
Oh, cool.
So if you are out and you're not at a Tesla superstation or supercharger and you don't have a chance to get to one, you can use this to take the J1772 and plug it into your Tesla.
Or as we call it in the Tesla line, the slow charger.
The slow charger.
Yeah. Oh my God. You had to go there, didn't you?
But if you haven't had an opportunity to watch the video, you should watch it because, again, like I said, I left a lot of the stuff really in there because of how well he is expressing it. And you can tell he's done his homework and he's thought about it and he's taken all the considerations, and it's exactly how it should be done. Yeah. Kudos to Zachary. And he's just an absolutely great guy.
Thank you, Zach, for letting us in on that, by the way. That was totally cool. Do go there and check it out. It's a really cool 10-minute video about, what it's like to get your Tesla Model 3.
Yeah.
Our first news story this week isn't so much a news story. It's just something that I felt like I had to bring up. It's a company that we haven't talked about in quite some time, and intentionally we've avoided talking about them. Now, they haven't really been doing a lot, but they appear to be moving towards actually having an operational factory. That company, folks, Faraday Future. No, I want to share a picture. And, photography, being a photographer, I look at this and I go, well, it's really overexposed, so it looks very clean and heaven-like. Because, the back is just totally washed out. It's kind of cheesy in a way. But this is a shot, allegedly, from inside of their new Hanford factory. And a factory which, according to Faraday Future, they will be making FF91s at some point soon. Now, that's the good news, and I cheer them. I hope I hope that Faraday Future can get to the point where they're making cars and hopefully selling them, and, good for them. Here's the downside. I scrolled down the page a little bit. Wait. That's there. I thought he wasn't the CEO anymore.
Isn't that the guy that's wanted in China on charges?
That's the guy that's hiding in America from charges of bilking all of his companies of money. And now he's the global CEO, Faraday Future founder and global CEO. YT Gia is what he's going by now. You know what?
Doesn't it kind of blow your cover when you put your picture on the website when you're a wanted man?
I'm guessing that China knows where he is anyway, right?
Well, we do now. He's right there.
Right there. He's in Hanford, California, folks. I mean, they know he's here, and I don't know, extradition. I don't know what maybe he hasn't done anything. Maybe the Chinese people are just all up in arms over nothing. I don't know. But he sounds like a scammer, and he smells like a scammer. And I don't think that his leadership in Faraday Future during its initial run was all that strong or ethical. So sadly, I get happy about the little shiny factory, and then I see this, and it's like, oh, maybe they haven't learned anything after all. Oh,
sad.
I don't know. Time, yeah, like everything, time will tell.
Exactly. Next up, Tesla announced something that we've all been expecting, that we've all been waiting for, that Tesla carefully rolled out the way they were selling Model 3s to hit this when it was advantageous for them. And cheers to them for that. Do not think that's criticism at all. Tesla did announce that they have sold their 200,000th vehicle, which means that the $7,500 federal tax credit will start to phase out, will sunset. What that means is that for the rest of the year, you will be able to, if you take delivery on a Tesla, you will be able to get, that tax credit will apply to you. If you take delivery this year, anytime after this year, starting in January 1st and through the end of June, you will get half that, $3,750. And then the second half of 2019, you'll get half of that again, $1,875. So obviously now what we're going to see is a lot of anxious Tesla orderers trying to get their cars this year. And obviously Tesla's going to try and crank out as many as they can because people want that $7,500 tax incentive.
Right.
Absolutely.
And Mark's lived this. I mean, he just collected his incentive, and if he had been, a month later?
Yep, it would have been gone.
Gone.
The stars had to align, and they did. And man, am I thankful that it happened that way. But there are many people that didn't have the order in on time or waited a little bit too long, and they are on the outside looking in.
And just got unlucky, right?
Yeah, and that is unfortunate because it's kind of, I hate to say a luck of the draw, but
there was a little bit of that involved.
Yeah. And we'll never know. I mean, no one will ever know whether where they fell, I guess.
So some people have to look at the decisions that are to be made as to whether or not they're going to pull the trigger on the order. Obviously, many people are waiting for the base car, and they want to get the base car with $7,500 off, and that would be $35,000 minus $7,500. That would be ideal in their situation. But you also have to look at what Tesla's currently selling and what they say they will be selling. And in a number of cases, you're not going to get that. You're going to have to order the premium car with the larger battery in order to get the car at all within the time frame. So you start to have to weigh, am I going to wait for the base car and possibly not get the incentive, or do I spring for the bigger battery and the premium package and definitely get the $7,500? So it's a question.
It becomes a question, and I'm sure it comes down to financials, because most people would tell you you can afford the higher options with the incentive.
Right.
Unless you really, really needed the base model and the incentives.
Right.
To make
Unless
it
you were
affordable.
hoping to get a sub $30,000 Tesla.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which clearly lots of people were.
Lots of people were, that was on the top of their list.
Sure.
A sub $30,000 car. Yep.
Yeah. And it will be interesting to see as the year progresses how that shakes out. I mean, obviously this could have a huge impact on Tesla sales. We don't really know how many unfulfilled pre-orders there are. I think the last official word from Tesla was that there are still 420,000 outstanding Model 3 orders, which frankly I find hard to believe. But I don't know. I'm just saying.
I like how you whisper that into the mic and then just put your arms up. Oh well, you know.
You don't want that Elon lightning to strike you dead. You know what I mean? Because that's yes. Thank you, Mark. I did do that. I did back off.
You know what? There's a bit of a good situation for Tesla there that they don't have to divulge the size of their wait list. They don't have to tell you how many people have dropped off and how many people have added. They just don't. No, and they don't. They could, but they don't. And that's okay. Whatever. Look, it's going to be a game, and I'm not saying this to be mean to Tesla or saying that Tesla's dishonest for this, but Tesla's going to play the game as much as they can to get people to buy the more expensive vehicle.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
They've done that so far, very, very officially, outwardly. They're going to certainly do that for the rest of this year.
Yeah. And we can't in good conscience give them any crap for that, because we have railed on other manufacturers for doing the exact same thing. I would rather sell you a highly profitable truck than sell you, an EV or a plug-in or a hybrid. They're doing what every other manufacturer does.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're trying to make money, and I get that. They're not. Look, Tesla is not a philanthropic organization. It is a for-profit company whose mission may at some points be very, very laudable. But in the end, they're about taking money and making money. So that's what they're there for. I don't begrudge them that. I want them to stay in business. I really do. I'm sorry, Tony.
No, I said yep.
Oh, okay. Don't agree with me.
Oh, God, you suck.
I know. Thank you. So one of my favorite sites, and I'm going to show it here, is a site called streetsblog.org. Streetsblog, actually, USA.streetsblog.org.
This is not the first time. In fact, this is like 10th, 12th time we've gone to Streetsblog USA.
Oh yeah, I do it. I read there every week. It is a wonderful site. It is amazingly well written, well researched, and what they do is they cover all sorts of issues involving transit, mobility, whether it's cars or bicycles or scooters or streets or sidewalks. It's a broad reach, and as such, it fascinates me. And these are a lot of interesting discussions. One of Angie Schmidt wrote an article on July 12th that was, and as you can see, American cities are drowning in car storage. And the thrust of this article is really simple. When you look at the amount of parking that we have in urban environments, and constantly in cities, we hear the refrain, we need more parking, we need more parking. Truth is, we have way more parking than we need. And we spend a crazy amount of money on parking. Now, you may live in a place where you can't find a parking space in front of your favorite store. That doesn't exactly negate the argument made by Ms. Schmidt in this article. For instance, and I'm going to read one little couple sentence paragraph, quote, in Des Moines, for example, there are 18 times as many parking spaces per acre as households, 1.6 million parking spaces, and about 81,000 homes. In Philadelphia, there are 3.7 times more parking spaces than households. Of the 5 cities, only New York has more households than parking spaces. And New York still has 1.85 million parking spaces.
Wow.
This is a show not just about cars, but about, oh, look at what are you showing there, Tony?
This is Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah.
1.5 households per acre versus 28.4 parking spaces per acre.
We don't even talk about this. We don't have any kind of national discussion about how we design these things. We're starting to have it, and the next story sort of segues into this, and I'm going to bring that up, and then we can circle back on this other one. A really interesting story on Curbed. Let me what they did basically. This is Alyssa Walker on the Curbed.com website. Wrote a story about micromobility, and everybody likes to talk about micromobility and scooters, and ooh, wow, this is a whole new thing. Truth is, we are literally mirroring things that happened a century or more ago. And you look back at photographs, for instance, photographs taken in San Francisco before the 1906 earthquake. And it's fascinating in that the streets in one photograph, and you compare it to a photograph taken today, and what you see are the streets with people using like 4 or 5 different conveyances. There's motor cars, there's streetcars, there's scooters, there's bicycles, there's horses. Same thing today. There's a streetcar, there's a bus, there's a train, there's a car, there's a scooter, there's a bicycle. This is a really healthy mix of different mobility.
Yeah.
That helps people get around without using one solution. In other words, the car is not the only solution to get us from point A to point B. And sometimes I think what a lot of people have found out in the cities with the little mini scooters is that's a lot easier to take that mini scooter like 1 mile and dump it off than it is find a parking space and drive down the road, park it again. And again, it's just, this is a matter of a mindset of us sort of forgetting that these things are possible, that scooters aren't just an annoyance or something that those darn millennials are all excited about, that they really are. It's a valid transportation solution in some places, and we should use it.
And God help us, bicycles.
Fucking bicycles.
I mean, they're everywhere in, Europe, and, especially like Sweden and Norway, and there's thousands of bicycles at the train station. People take the train into the city, and then they go find their bike, and they ride their bike to the office. At the end of the day, they ride their bike from the office to the train station. They lock it up for the night, and they take the train home.
Isn't that weird?
It's just crazy. That's crazy talk.
They don't get it. They don't understand the joy of driving your car, for a mile.
Gridlock at 5
p.m.
p.m.
Through gridlock.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
In Southern California traffic, very, very slowly.
Forward, sheer pleasure.
Stop, forward, eat.
Yeah.
It's all I'm trying to say here with these 2 articles is that there are other choices, and that as much as we love cars and love talking about cars, there are other ways to get around. And if we diversify that, we will probably have a more healthy transportation system. We'll probably have better commutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That's all I got.
Russell, where you are,
Yes, sir.
do you see a lot of people commuting on bicycles?
No.
Okay. Tony, in your neck of the woods, is bicycle transportation anything beyond someone going out for a Sunday ride?
In hardcore cyclists, but I might see 2 or 3 people a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are some.
And here we have some hardcore guys, and you can tell them because they're the ones that are decked out with the crazy pants and stuff, and they are out on the roads. But man, like, I own a bicycle. I drive it every once in a while, and it scares the crap out of me driving my bicycle on a road.
And That right there, though, is a key. Like we've designed our cities, we've designed our roads completely around automobiles. So anything else is a hazard, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't take their needs into consideration. Like I mean, I have a bicycle. I was riding it for a while. It's great, but there are a couple of choke points that are just bloody dangerous.
Yes.
And, getting back and forth to work on the bicycle, it really shouldn't involve me risking my life. I pay taxes too.
Right.
Right. And you would think the government would want you to keep paying those taxes. So being alive would be an asset to them.
But owning a car is so much better. No, I love my scooter because I can compete now with cars, and it's much better than most cars driving around.
Yeah.
But again, I think we need to kind of rethink these things. You shouldn't feel unsafe in your own town riding your bike.
Exactly.
If you don't go to the grocery store to pick up something, get on your bicycle. I mean, granted, you've got a Tesla in the driveway, so whatever, you kill a few electrons, but even then, again, there are people for whom that we should be able to put our kids on bicycles to go to school and not worry about them getting run down. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And I noticed that being a Canadian and in Canada, I notice when I go to the States, different cities, there's a distinct lack of sidewalks. There's a lot more you have to walk on the road or off to the side, or there's no one walking. So maybe that's why there aren't sidewalks in the first place. But there seems to be that design is not the same in different cities. It is different everywhere you go.
Well, I mean, the lack of sidewalks is certainly a hallmark of sort of that suburban sprawl development thing where who's going to walk? You know what I mean? Who's going to walk from one gated neighborhood 6 miles to the cluster of shopping? No one is going to walk.
Yeah.
Sidewalks aren't necessarily practical. They may occur within that gated neighborhood. But there's no reason that bike lanes can't exist.
Right.
Between that neighborhood and between that residential neighborhood and the shopping.
Right. Exactly.
In our city recently put in a bike lane along a major thoroughfare in town, like not a highway, but just a regular road that's about, it's a test project. They put on bike lanes on both sides of the road, and it's been in place now for about 3/4 of a year. So we're waiting for, I drive the road every once in a while. To be honest, you have yet to see a bike on it. But it's I'm not there all the time, but it's interesting to see that once you change a city's design or start to change it, do they come? Like does the population change and bring their own bikes, or do they start to change it? It's a question that nobody knows the answer to now, but I hope to see how it progresses in my city.
Lots of people talk about the European model, how, there's 1 million bikes and, blah, 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 because it certainly works in the Netherlands where things are flat, things are small and compressed. In California, it's a little different. Things are a little more spread out. It's a little hillier, but that doesn't mean that there can't be bike lanes and that we can't give the people who want to pursue that option an option. And then there's the whole other social stigma of, you don't have a car? I mean, that's huge in the U.S.
And in fact, my neighbor has a 3-mile walk to work, and some mornings she walks it. And when she started working there and decided that it was close enough to walk, she didn't know that her coworkers were discussing amongst themselves who could swing by and pick her up, since clearly she didn't have a car. And they were seriously feeling bad for her. And so she had to drive in a few times just to establish that she has a car.
She had one.
But enjoys the walk.
Man.
What Russell said. Yeah, it's just weird when people actually decide to walk or bike.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a stigma. It really shouldn't be. And it's a mark of how far off I think our priorities are. Why the mandatory ownership of a personal automobile is some sort of measure of your success as a human. Wow. That's weird to me.
All right. So Derek has a show title.
Uh-oh.
Alrighty. And I'm taking liberties with it, Derek. I'm sorry. But he said, if you build it, they will come. And I have shortened it to Lanes of Dreams.
Oh,
he did
bike lanes
of dreams. But I think to stick with the field of dreams.
I like that.
Like
yeah. Bike lanes of dreams. Okay, yeah. I do. I mean, there's certainly, I think, some truth to that. Not automatically, not right away, but you can change people's behavior by giving them reasons to change.
And I think it's like you said, make it available to those people who want to use it. And they will start using it, and maybe others will start using it. But if you don't make it available, then even the people who want to won't be able to.
Yep. I agree. Our next story is not me, thankfully. It goes to someone else here, and his name is Mark.
Yes. It's been announced that GM is going to start putting some infrastructure in place for charging. Ooh. But guess what? The charging is going towards the Cruise automated fleet that they're putting in place in San Francisco. So it's been announced that the autonomous cruise vehicle is going to start hitting the roads in San Francisco next year in 2019. And GM has been building some fast charging structure, some stalls in order to plug the autonomous cars in. But here is the question. The burning question is, how does an autonomous car charge? How on earth does it charge itself?
Remember the mechanical snaky thing?
Yeah, exactly. I remember the thing from Tesla that had the snake that went in and plugged in automatically.
Yeah.
Now, I guess there could be one of those charging pads under the car. That could be an option. And in San Francisco, I guess the weather would cooperate with doing something like that somewhat.
Or you do the New Jersey model where there's an attendant.
Right. There could be a valet who's plugging in and out cars. But doesn't that kind of ruin the autonomous part of it? Like that the car shows up and the human has to go over and plug it in and unplug it for it to leave?
It's a really good point. I mean, who's going to take care of the robots, right?
Yeah.
Somebody has to fix the robots. As I understand it, all of these things all of these charging places that GM has bought or leased or whatever, I think they're all indoors. So that would support some sort of like automatic induction parking thing.
Yeah.
But they don't say anything about induction charging.
They don't mention how it is to happen. They say they've got 18 stalls, and it is going to be in San Francisco is really all they're outlining. And of course, we knew that the program was going to start in San Francisco in 2019. So obviously, this is getting ahead of the program, making sure that the charging infrastructure is in place so that they could, perform, have these cars out on the road day and night.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be realistic for a moment about this, though. I mean, okay, so these autonomous cars are working perfectly, and they're not running over pedestrians, and they're not going through red lights, and they're doing fine. And then they come in after doing whatever it is they do, and they come in and they charge. And yeah, somebody's going to plug the thing in. Somebody's going to check the inside of the car, make sure there's no vomit in it. You know what I mean? Like vacuum it out, maybe take some trash out, wash the window, and then it'll go back out when it's done. Right. I mean,
well, you mentioned a great point there, Russell, is how are the human occupants that are being driven around going to treat the inside of the car? Like, is this going to be a garbage can on wheels? Yes. Since there's no driver, they're just going to go in there and just throw stuff around and drop their Slurpee all over the place. And like, will these cars become just mess pots?
It's going to be a cheap motel on wheels.
Bingo! That might be the show title.
I wasn't even aiming for a show title.
Now, of course, there may be some sort of surveillance. Maybe there's a camera in them. Maybe there's something that's showing what the occupants are doing.
Yeah,
I guess there would have to be for vandalism, right?
I don't know, right? I mean, look. I rode the bus for years. I'm a big believer in mass transit. I love it. And I'm riding the bus, riding the train, riding BART, Muni, whatever. You see the whole spectrum of folks, and some of them respect that thing that they're riding on every day, and some of them will take a crap right in the seat. Okay?
Yeah.
I gotta think that this is going to be the same thing, unless it's priced and even then, not that wealthy people are necessarily more neat or more respectful of public utilities, and then there's just the horrible accident, like at 3 a.m., like I'm vomiting drunk and there's nobody in the car.
I picked your car to take me home.
Yeah,
exactly. Am I gonna roll down the window, or am I just gonna be like, nobody in the driver's seat?
No.
So these are new things that we're going to experience shortly.
Can you
see
imagine
how this happens? Yeah.
Can you? I mean, absolutely. People are gonna. I mean, there's going to be lots of accidental things, But yeah, people are going to abuse these cars. There's going to be Instagram. There's going to be warehouses of Instagram pages of people having sex in these things. Like I've done it in every different autonomous car in San Francisco.
Lots of fun coming in 2019. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
That'll help our numbers, I'm sure of it.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, it's yeah. I am I too cynical for thinking that?
No, I like you said, it happens today in mass transit. Why would we not think it's going to happen in these autonomous cars?
In a private car.
Yeah.
In a private car. You're in there by yourself. Oh, I'm just going to take off my clothes and lay down in the back seat for 20 minutes. Oh, geez. Thanks for sharing that. I can't
scary stuff.
I can't go on. I have that in my head.
I'm sorry, Tony. No, that's a wonderful story though, Mark, because there's so many aspects of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Tony. I feel like I'm cutting you off today.
No, you're not. Absolutely not. I'm
okay.
Yeah. I mean, what sounds like I'm about to, I'm just behind and agreeing. Yeah.
Okay. Are you imagining in your mind what you would do in a car?
No. Actually, what I'm doing is I'm imagining that meeting that didn't occur, where, their GM is having this. Okay, we're going to roll out these autonomous vehicles, and the meeting that never occurred was and what about, and what about, and what about, and what about. Yeah.
That comes a week after the program starts. That's when that meeting shows up.
I'm thinking it does. I'm thinking when you have a bunch of cars that pull in for charging and there's no one there to plug them in, someone's going to say, huh.
If I can,
I really hope they've gotten by that point.
Oh man. If I could afford it and I had the time, I would do whatever it takes to be the job of the autonomous cruise attendant. I want that job for the first 2 weeks they roll that program out, because that job, you're going to be able to write a novel. Okay. Behind and the left behind stuff and the evidence of God knows what, you know what I mean? Just like there's stories going to be in those cars. There are.
Mm-hmm.
A cheap motel on wheels. Indeed, my friend.
So Derek says you'll need a portable blue light ready.
Exactly.
Before you
hazmat suit.
And Eric says,
Eric,
maybe we'll come with a condom vending machine.
I love that on the back of the driver's, right?
Oh man,
yeah.
Brutal.
Do you want the colored one or the red one?
Yeah. Another revenue stream. That's awesome. Yes.
And which used condom will you be leaving in the car tonight?
Oh, yeah. Oh, because you don't want to flip that thing out the window. That's a littering fine. Okay, that's $1,000 littering fine in California.
Oh, jeez.
I'm just saying.
Okay, it's time to move on.
Move on. Are you sure?
You hear that scraping? That's the bottom. I think we've reached it.
We've hit the bottom. Well, interesting story this week. You're the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar global car building powerhouse. Yet, you sometimes have the maturity of a 7-year-old. Elon got pissed, and those of you that didn't hear the story, the soccer team that was trapped in caves in Thailand, it was a very difficult procedure to dive into these caves and take these kids out. The kids, some of them couldn't even swim. They didn't really know how they were going to do it, to get them underwater and through this incredibly narrow cave thing. And however it happened, let's just look at it the best possible way. Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla, I'm sure you people have heard of him, offered somehow to make a mini submarine. With his expertise, the engineers at SpaceX took a liquid oxygen tube from one of the rockets and modified it very, very quickly into a mini submarine that they could pack the kids into, and that Elon assumed that would be able to navigate this network of caves that was extremely difficult, even for divers. They had to take their tanks off at some points. So as it turns out, the mini sub didn't get used because they found a system and they got everybody out of there with divers. And one of the people involved is a gentleman, a British diver who's lived in Thailand for a long time, named Vern Unsworth. And Vern said some things that weren't so nice about Elon's mini sub. And I don't know if...
And asked him to park the sub in a certain spot.
Yeah, basically said he could shove the sub up his ass. Right?
And do it in a cruise.
Right, and do it in a cruise in San Francisco because somebody else is going to clean that shit up. Who left this poop-covered mini sub in the back seat? That's the show title. Anyway, so you know what I mean? Like, it's not all that uncommon for some of us when we're upset or when we're emotional to say, shove it up your butt, right? This is a very, very Bush League kind of insult. Well, Elon apparently got very upset and said, and I quote, "My words were spoken in anger after Mr. Unsworth said several untruths and suggested I engage in a sexual act with the mini sub," which honestly just proves to me that Elon's fucking crazy. Okay. I mean, a sexual, he told you it wasn't a sexual act. Elon. He said, shove it up your butt. Okay.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. But Elon had to take it up just another notch. And Elon said in 2 tweets that Vern Unsworth was a pedophile. Now, I don't know where that comes from. And as far as...
Well, I mean, okay, wait.
Go ahead, please.
He didn't come out and say, I have
pedo.
It. I don't... He didn't come out and say, I have it on good knowledge that Unsworth is a pedophile. Instead, he called him pedo.
Yeah.
So I don't have it right in front of me. Well, no, I mean, but one of them is calling someone a name, and the other one is making a statement.
Is it possible he thought his name was Pedro and dropped the R?
It could be.
You are such a Tesla fan. I love that about you.
I was thinking maybe pedo is short for pedestrian, and he was just, that's a South African thing. Yeah, no, but I did want to clarify. It wasn't slander or libel in which he was making a claim that was untrue. He was calling him a name. Well, not a nice name.
That's arguable. When you have 22 million followers on Twitter and you say someone's pedo, I'm going to suggest that you don't have to be a great attorney to get some sort of settlement there.
Yeah. Okay. So Derek does say that pedo is fart in Spanish. So maybe.
I love that. I love that.
Again, back to the cruise.
Right. Oh man, I'm telling you, there's like a feature film there, you know. I was a cruise cleaner. So since then, Elon's apologized, but I wanted to bring this up because, you know, we've talked about Elon and his tweets and whatnot. And as far as I was concerned, just my opinion, you guys can disagree, chat room, viewers, whatever. It just shows how far out of line Elon will go. I mean, I don't know how he managed to take this so personally and why it even mattered to him. You know what I mean? That
Right.
Some dude said his sub wasn't cool.
With 22 million followers, he's got to be peppered with this stuff day and night. So why did this set him off? Like the guy must get his phone must explode all day, hours of the day and night. And there's nut bars everywhere. So I'm sure he's getting insane tweets that are coming to him direct. Why did he lose his shit on this? I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. You know, we have stated on the Tesla Life that, you know, Elon has been under an enormous amount of stress trying to make numbers, trying to get to a certain point based on the goals that he's throw out there himself. But I don't know. Maybe he's cracking up a little bit. Maybe the pressure's getting to him.
A little bit.
Mm.
A little bit.
He wasn't sleeping very well, and
Yeah.
It's so far outside of everything. The whole mini sub thing that Elon tweeted about constantly for 2 days with the videos and the pools and all that. And I get it, but what is Elon's connection to this? Like, why is it so important?
Nobody knows. I think he just went off. And you know what? I actually think his apology was pretty heartfelt. I think he honestly, it was just a knee jerk. I'm going to, you know, you came at me and I'm going to come back at you. And he grotesquely overreacted.
Well, there's no doubt of that. But
Yeah.
it's I can't explain it. I've never, you know, I am not in that type of position, but I've, you know, having, you know, someone go off at you, you do get that feeling. I want to come back and slap them as hard as they slap me, if not harder. But man, you think some restraint could have been used here for sure.
Yeah,
This was not something to get news about. Like this is something just to ignore and walk away.
right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And I don't want to dig too much deeper into this, but I'm a big, huge Twitter fan, and I follow not that many people. I follow like 700 people, but there are times in the day when literally the Twitter feed is going bum, 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 bum. During the day. Even at night, every 5 minutes, there's a half dozen tweets. I don't know how many people Elon follows, but if he's looking at his mentions, holy shit, I can't even imagine how he focuses.
No,
You know what I mean? They must stream past at 70 miles an hour.
you'd have to have your phone completely disconnected from it because it's nonstop.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I'm sure he's got notifications turned off.
Right?
Yeah.
400,000, you know, like
He's
shit,
the first
I gotta get on
person to
this.
wear out the speaker.
Right?
And if you doubt that having 22 million followers, you might get the odd nut job, you should follow his Twitter and see the responses that come up after he makes a tweet. Just the wide variety of crap that gets flowing onto that feed is just unbelievable. It just makes you want to shake your head.
And it's in both directions, like the negative people that hate Elon and just want to say some shit, and then the fawning, freaky stalkers who are like, "Oh, Elon, you're the best," and it's like he just said ice cream was cool. Come on, you know, I want to have your children or some shit. Who knows? And it's a guy, you know. I mean,
yeah.
Well, speaking of people in charge of car companies saying dumb shit. Oh, did I say that? I probably did. Lexus president Yoshihiro Sawa apparently joined some German car industry counterparts. They were having some sort of conference, and Sawa said, well, let me read. Quote, our philosophy is to provide freedom of movement. So we have to develop technology on all fronts, said Sawa. We understand that electric is very necessary, more than some perhaps, with our early move to hybrid. But we can also see that full EV will not suit everyone. We can't make an electric Land Cruiser work, for instance. And there are people in remote parts of the world whose lives depend on that car. Now, the Land Cruiser is not a Lexus vehicle. I'm not sure how that came up. The Lexus variant of the Land Cruiser, I'm going to guess probably lots of folks in Africa lives aren't depending on that car.
You think? Are you sure?
You
have the numbers to back that up.
The Toyota version of that car is $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying.
Right.
We've heard this stuff before from Toyota executives and now from Lexus that electric is just not ready. Electric is just not ready. And I don't disagree that in every case, electric is not the answer. Not right now. But this idea that you can say, well, it's not perfect for everything, so
we're not going to do any of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me read a little more just so you get an idea of what he said. So, quote, pure EVs currently require a long charging time and batteries that have an environmental impact at manufacture and which degrade as they get older. And then when cells need replacing, we have to consider plans for future use and recycling. It's a complex issue, much more complex than current rhetoric perhaps suggests. I prefer to approach the future in a more honest way. If we are looking for the best solution, it is my opinion that the best solution is not only EV, we must consider petrol, hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and fuel cell. If we focus on EV only, we will not provide the answers people need. I totally agree with the last sentence. But the bullshit in the top? Oh, did I call it bullshit? I'm sorry. Oof. I just drove my last Lexus. I mean, again, you know, like, right, because nothing in an ICE ever wears out, ever needs replacing, ever should be recycled, right?
Mm-hmm.
Catalytic converters are good forever, and they never, ever, whatever. I'm sorry. Am I getting preachy?
Well, they kind of deserve it.
Isn't this just happens over and over. It's like a reoccurring cycle at Toyota. Is it not? Like,
right.
We're going to get on board with electrification. We are going to push it. You know what? It's not ready. It's not ready yet.
Right.
And then 4 weeks later, we're going to move on forward with electric vehicles. We're going to do this. No, it's not ready. It's not ready. Like, it's depressing. That's what it is. It's depressing to watch them start and stop with just talk. Do something, man. Do something. Move forward with it. Yeah, they have the Prius. They have the plug-in Prius. They've improved upon it. Now take it and do what you did with, with the Tesla variant of the Toyota RAV4. Make a RAV4 that's electric drive. You can do it.
At the very least, plug-in. I've had so many people say, I wish they would make that a plug-in.
Right.
And, you're right. Yeah. But when you said you got the Prius, we get it. What that means is you had a head start. I mean, shit, the Prius has been out since 2004, 2002 with the Gen 1, 2001 going back 17 years. And to show for it, they have a few hybrids and a single plug-in.
Toyota does. Yeah. Lexus has
Toyota.
no plug-ins, and they have a nice range of hybrids. They have 6 hybrids. There's nothing wrong with that. But An RX plug-in would be an amazing car. Maybe a GS. I don't know. You know what I mean? There's certainly enough money in there to kind of play with it. You're talking about these high-end cars. It shouldn't be a money factor. And you give them 20 or 30 miles of range. I guess maybe the people who are buying a $70,000 car don't care. Maybe they do, though. We don't know. It doesn't all just come down to cost per gallon.
But like you said, the money's there in the car already. Why can they not push it a little bit further in a Lexus? Because, like you said, the profit margin's already there.
Yeah. Right. It is. That's all I got tonight, kids. Mark?
I did want to just touch on one last thing. One last thing. Because of Russell's story about the company that we barely talk about, Faraday Future, I thought I'd bring up our other stepchild, which of course is VW. And VW made the announcement recently that the ID Cross and the ID Buzz, which is the crossover vehicle and the small van, will indeed be manufactured in the United States, not in Europe. They will be making them in the U.S. They are going to be probably West Coast, could be West Coast, but certainly that's going to be the market they're aiming at. So it was interesting to hear that yes, they're not going to be shipping them. They're going to be making them there closer to the market that they hope to get on with. So it's, again, nothing as to when, nothing about specifics at all, just that don't expect them to be coming over by boat. They're going to make them locally. So we will continue to watch it, just because Tony thinks the bus is cool. So we got to see when this thing comes out.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tony.
I hate to play Paul Guzik, but until I see one rolling off the line, it's just more VW PR.
It very much could be. It very much could be. But like the last one we reported on, when they brought the cars to, believe it was Santa Monica area, where they shut down the street and had all three models driving around in the California sun. That was the last one that we saw about the car. So it was time for the PR cycle to strike up again. So
yeah, exactly.
Mark, I didn't read the story, but did it say that they were going to manufacture them on the West Coast?
It did not say West Coast. I'm guessing at that based on that's going to be their market area.
Right. Compliance.
Yeah, compliance.
The reason I ask is the only factory they have in the U.S. is in Chattanooga, which doesn't mean they couldn't make them there. Toyota makes hybrids in Kentucky, so certainly make them anywhere. And here, cheaper than making them in Germany and sending them here, I would guess.
Yes, yeah, and of course with the current tariff wars going on, who knows, right? If you have the car being made in the country it's being sold, it's going to be a lot easier to get it there to marketplace.
Unless you're importing a lot of parts, and then all that tariff pops up again.
Or if they were to ship them off to Canada, that would be a trouble too.
Oh, you Canadians.
Because the Canadians, right? We're the ones that are ruining shit. Yeah, that's us. That's us.
Ruining our milk market. That's what it is. It's you guys killing our farmers.
That's we're flooding the U.S. with cows. That's what we're doing.
Yes.
Canadian cows.
Keep your bagged milk
wandering across the border with their lumber jackets on. It's terrible.
Yes.
Moo. Hey.
Moo, eh?
Sorry. I gotta. Mark, you got any shout outs this week?
No. That's good. I'm set. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. Tony.
I want to give a shout out to everyone in the chat room, of course. Everyone, you know who you are. I always miss people, so I don't do the chat rooms by name. A couple of new names, and I think that's awesome. Thank you for taking the time to spend the evening or morning or New Brunswick time, whatever the hell that is.
No, it's Newfoundland time, Tony, not New Brunswick time.
Oh, yeah, not New Brunswick. Yeah, Newfoundland. It could. What? You don't know where I was talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you were going for.
Prince Edward Island.
All right. And Sydney, Bob, Marco, Daniel, Donald, Alan, John are some new subscribers to the channel. I hope you are watching, listening to the show. Thanks for joining us. And you can find the show, if you probably already found it, at youtube.com/whatdrivesus. And you know what? I haven't done this in a while, but if you use Flipboard as a news aggregator like I do, then you can see all the articles that we talk about on the show if you just search for What Drives Us. So Philip Barclay and I throw articles into the magazine. Shout out to Philip. He's doing an awesome job. And you can see what we're talking about and just keep up with the news. Everything in the What Drives Us Flipboard magazine it's everything we talk about. It's hybrids, it's plugins, it's Tesla, it's all transportation. It's all that stuff, all in one place.
There you go. And speaking of all in one place, so let's talk about where you can find us. Facebook.com/whatdrivesus, Twitter.com/whatdrivesus, right? We're at What Drives Us on Twitter. Instagram at our What Drives Us show. And of course, again, youtube.com/whatdrivesus. Please subscribe. Please ask your friends to subscribe. That subscribing supports the show directly, and it costs you, donut. Yep. Donut. I should, yeah.
It costs you a donut?
It costs you nothing. Not even a donut. Okay. Not even a Timbit.
Yeah. Unless you go to Patreon.
Oh, thank you.
And then you could become a co-owner of the show.
No, not an owner.
Not a co-owner.
Yeah, who are you working for, Schaefer? Thankfully, we have a few people who've been nice enough to go to patreon.com/whatdrivesusshow and support the show. You can do it automatically, $1 a month. Come on, $1 a month? You waste that much. You waste that much watching the show in electricity, probably. So support us, please. Patreon.com/whatdrivesusshow. Support us, throw us $1 or $2. We appreciate it. And that, again, is a huge help for us. That's all I got. Cheers to the chat room. Thank you. I'm thinking cheap Motel on wheels, guys.
There you go.
Yeah. Nobody's going to argue with that. Okay.
Nope.
It's way better than all Russell all the time. That's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to Michael Mannering, as always, for our theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. We will see you next week at this same bat time and the same bat channel. Thanks to Tony and Mark for being here. Our friend Patrick is in the middle of his nerd road trip on the way to my hood. So you can follow him on the Ultimate Nerd Road Trip 2018, I think, on Facebook. Otherwise, tune in next week and find out what drives us.
That was super dramatic.
Was that super dramatic?
I was, yeah.
It was riveting.
I was wondering what was going to happen.
Were you? Everybody says like, oh, I think you forgot. But I didn't forget. I know it. See you, everybody.